Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Commissioner, for attending. I want to thank you for your time and your insight that we spent talking about the issue of cybersecurity, but I also want to begin by thanking you for your past service in law enforcement.
Thank you, Senator.
It's the interesting part about the dynamic of cybersecurity. It's all around us, and we are living in a digital age, and there is no going back. What I find very interesting is the stories we've heard about encroachment in regards to our data, the Marriott data compromise, the targets. But what a lot of people don't fully understand is the fact that our national security has been compromised as well. As I read in recent news reports that, the F-35 fighter plane, the Black Hawk helicopter, and the Aegis anti-missile defense, all of that has been compromised and stolen through cyber theft. And the other nuances is the fact that everywhere around us, it is pervasive. Saying that, what I find interesting is the fact that there is no national, federal cybersecurity policy. And I have, from my research, understood that it has remained a state function. Can you elaborate a little bit more from your work in law enforcement, how law enforcement has been very proactive in this, but also in your new role that encompasses homeland security and public safety and security, where you see this role kind of developing?
So we had the opportunity to sit down, you and I, for a good 15, 20 minutes and talk a little more in depth about this. And our partners are also included in this, our DAS best partners in every different agency around the state. And, we talked about where our private partners come in here too, because they seem to have much more robust protection of their proprietary products. And that's something that we need to get around the table and talk about. Presently, we meet monthly. We talk about different incursions and protection, but that is solely left to each and every agency. Now, we do have a group of troopers that are assigned to the Joint Terrorism Task Force that do cyber work, that work with the FBI. And that area is exclusive to law enforcement. At the division, we do have a cyber information officer who handles security risks for the department. So I think we left each other thinking we have to sit down around the table and put the best minds together and talk about it globally, not just departmental-wide.
And thank you. And I want to compliment former Governor Malloy in his proactiveness in commissioning a cybersecurity study with former PURA Chairman Art House. And some of the particulars that came out that I wanted to share with you that's interesting is the fact that Connecticut state government is under constant cyber attack. And in fact, there's about 4.8 billion connection attempts to our state network. And nearly 2 billion of it are blocked. But that means 2.8 billion other encroachments are getting through and embedded into our system. That is one real big concern. I think the other fact is this, that we do not have a centralized IT structure in state government, that each one of our agencies have their own IT structure. There is no unifying concept to handle the aspect of cybersecurity. Could you kind of share for you from a applicability as well as enforcement and ultimate protection, how that kind of a decentralized, individualized system as we have right now pose in regards to vulnerabilities?
So you quoted from Mr. House's written testimony also that I have also reviewed. There's only one quarterback on a football team, and I think you need centralization of these resources to marshal all the threats that we come across. There's professionals out there in the outside world globally that's the only thing they do is attack, and they try to make their way in. So I am a proponent of centralization in this factor, and I think you are too. And it's a conversation that we all need to get in the room on. And I'm not one to have that ego to say that we should do it. I think we need best practices, and I think it has to be taken by the reins and worked on.
I think when we hear in state government, and I respect that the focus has always been in regards to cybersecurity of our homeland security as well as our grid structure. The other component of the proposed bill is a three-pronged approach to incorporate some of our corporate partners in a collaboration of their protection against espionage as well as data privacy and data data protection. Share with me and the committee some of the really great work, without naming some of their protocols, obviously, for security purposes, but share how the state could benefit, as it has already in some ways, the collaboration from the advanced work and the real proactive work of our defense industry and state, as well as our electrical and utility grids, insurance industry, financial services. One of the roles I see in this is the fact that we collaborate with those entities that are very interested in being willing partners and can offer insight. I see this role of being able to pull that interaction and pull that collaboration together. Could you share some of the really good work that's being done by businesses in our state and how we can benefit?
Senator, I think you just answered your question. Very well put. And that's something that we have talked about, working outside of those silos. I shared with you stories from my Hartford police days where I consulted with some of those private industry folks that were in Hartford. And that is the way we get things done. Folks have different aspects of protection, different data sources they have to protect in the private sector. And those are the conversations we had. And I'm looking forward to a lot of those conversations because there is vulnerability.
We are constantly under attack in this arena. I think in some ways we choose to not see it, choose to say it doesn't happen to us, but the fact from my study and my understanding about the peril of cybersecurity is simply this: they get to choose who they're going to attack. And so as a result of that premise, it is incumbent on us as a state agency, as businesses, and as individuals in our personal cybersecurity to always be vigilant and always be prepared. And I see the incredible department that you're heading to be a lead on that, because it touches all of us. But the ultimate perspective is public safety and security. And I can't think of a better place for that to be a centralized operation to protect the well-being of our state. So thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank you for being here as well, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank
sir.
you, Senator. Up next, we have